Live from Los Angeles, here's Everyway Woman.
Welcome to Everyway Woman, and it's time to weigh in. Now, Stacey, you had a question online that I had a hard time with. You said, what frustrates you most about your sex? And I really hate to think in terms of that kind of stuff, but what made you ask that question? What responses did you get?
I wanted people to start thinking. And the response that we got was, women tend to be very catty with each other. That was the number one answer, that we don't support each other. But number two, saying we don't recognize our value and our power. Those were the top two questions.
Well, you know, I've been really excited about this big push, the Lean In with Sheryl Sandberg, the COO at Facebook. You know, and it's all about empowering women and, you know, just transcending. But, Jocelyn, do you think that it's really making a difference? Do you think there's going to be a change with that movement?
Yeah, women are women, and we've been, people are going to try, but, you know, we are who we are, and we're going to still make the same mistakes, tell the same stories.
Well, I don't know. I have a lot more hope for women. But, you know, one of the big things about men and women is just the power struggle. And even with Sheryl Sandberg, she said, she made a comment where she said that, you know, I don't even think about my money. I let my husband do it. Is there just a difference, Holly, with the way men and women are grown up and are thought, you know, think about money?
I think so. I think it depends on how you were raised and what your parents' values and how they handled it. And if you have a couple and the woman was raised a certain way with more, the mom worked or had a career and it was all joint and everybody took their own money and did their own thing, as opposed to a more traditional family that had the mom stay at home, that sort of thing. And the dad was raised, or the husband was raised that way, so he's going to have a different perspective on with a woman who all of a sudden wants to have a career. Maybe she didn't at first, but she changed her mind, maybe being less flexible.
But you know what, Sunita, the concept for the Lean In, though, is she's talking about women having their place at the table, whatever that table is. And so I think that's why when Jessalyn says it, I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I guess maybe more men need to change their...
No, we have to stand up. Whatever stand-up looks like.
Well, I think a lot of times we are.
Yeah.
But what does that look like? We have to stand up and be heard, and not from an emotional point of view, but from a factual point of view. And that's the difference between men and women.
Maybe that's what we're talking about. Right. It's more an emotional-based empowerment as opposed to
logical,
and a confidence-based.
But Cinderella, do women just size each other up way too fast? Is that part of the problem?
I don't know. Me personally, I think that women are kind of fake. You know, like it's like, oh girl, you look good and this and this and that. And so that's the issue I have with women, because they're always.
Girl, you do look good.
No,
you do get told that often.
But it's just that's my biggest issue. It's just that because we're emotional, I think we're used to being like, oh, you know, and we don't really mean like, oh, girl, look at her shoes. You know, we're behind her back. So I hate that. I'd rather be honest. You know,
well, I am being honest. You do look good.
Yes.
To all of
You're an everyday woman. Yes, everyday woman.
That's right. Well, we have more with Everyway Woman when you come back.
Yes.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Everyway Woman.
Welcome to Everyway Woman. Different women, different opinions, always great conversation.
Here's Everyway Woman.
Hi, thanks for joining us for Everyway Woman. Today we're here with relationships experts, Charles and Charlie. We're going to be talking about why people get played in the relationships, which is something that we always want to know. So tell us, what's the deal?
You want to talk about why women get played in relationships?
Yeah, we want to know what's going on.
You got to take this one, please.
So there's a common misconception that in order to get played, you have to be stupid, you're not paying attention. Smart, successful women get played all the time, right? And it's usually because the guy that they're involved with has some plausible excuse for why he's treating her so poorly. But at the same time, he ends up addressing one of her critical needs. Maybe it's sexual, financial, emotional. And because that need is being met, the rest of his behavior is loud. So she sees past all the red flags and all the nonsense. And as long as that need gets met, as a result, her self-esteem takes constant hits because he's not addressing all the other things she needs in a relationship, right?
Right.
So, but that real need is being met. He ends up realizing that the woman she is has changed. You know, you're so clingy, and he doesn't understand why. So he leaves, and he takes her entire self-esteem with him.
Absolutely.
You know?
So, and that is so perfect. And what I would say is, you know what? Give a few tips on how not to get played.
Right.
One is you got to know what you bring to the table.
Definitely.
When you get really clear about what you bring to the table, you'll be able to figure out with yourself where your weak spots are, and you can fix them. Whatever it is, if you say, okay, I know this about me, I'm a little bit insecure over here, then do what it takes to become a little bit more confident, and then lead with that. Because a lot of times women are leading with that hope so that they go for that one piece or two pieces that's getting fulfilled, even though all the rest is a mess.
Right.
And if you lead with clarity and commitment about what it is that you're really looking for, knowing what you bring to the table, then it's much easier to be curious about how does this guy actually fit or relate or conflict with what I want. Then you're not going to get played because you're going to see all those little things, and your eyebrow will be twitching when he says something. You'll go, what was that?
Well,
you'll notice.
You're bringing up an important point, right? I mean, you don't want to ignore those kind of red flags. People kind of reveal themselves slowly over time.
Well, what are some of the red flags, if you don't mind mentioning?
One of the most common of which is how he treats people besides you in your presence. So,
very important.
Definitely.
Yes.
If he's out at a restaurant with you and he's treating the waiter or the waitress like crap, that's a big red flag. People in the service industry are doing you a favor, not the other way around.
Right.
You need to treat them with respect.
And how important is the mother kind of relationship dynamic? Because I hear a lot of times that the way guys treat their mothers is a big indicator as to how they're going to treat their wife or girlfriend.
Not always.
Not always? Really?
Not always. Well, because they'll be on their best behavior with their folks or with their sister or whatever, but then they end up treating the woman in their life completely different.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think what it is really assessing what the relationship is and what they've done with it. Because sometimes, you have a difficult mother.
Right.
If that's the case, well, let's see, how does he actually look at it? What does he think? If he's got a good sense about it, then that tells you some really wonderful things, even if he doesn't get along great with his mother.
Right.
And I tell you what, if you're getting red flags in your head and you think that something is wrong, that's not you being crazy. That's your subconscious telling you that something needs to change.
Your intuition.
Yes.
So we have to trust our intuition.
Trust your gut.
Absolutely.
Trust your gut.
That's one of our biggest problems as women, though. Why is that, do you think? In relationships, it's like, we'll feel it, but then we don't go with it.
Yeah, well, we've got the superpower, but again, when we're leading with commitment to what we want, we'll follow it. When we're not and we get caught up in what we hope is happening, so we don't really listen and we rationalize things away, well, then we are just taking a skill that we have and we're going, putting it on the shelf.
Yeah, so that value is definitely important.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys. We'll be right back. And if you have any more questions, visit us at everywaywoman.com.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Everyway Woman.
Welcome to Everyway Woman. Different women, different opinions, always great conversation.
Here's Everyway Woman.
Hello, ladies. We're back with Everyway Woman, and we have handsome trainer, Mr. Aldair Marquez. We're going to be talking about 12 weeks to a better man, to a new man. So, Aldair, what are some things that I need to start thinking about to get my man in shape?
Well, we always start with square one. We always talk about where we are in our mind, our head game right now, where we are from the start, and are we ready to make this commitment? Because it's going to be a commitment. It's got to be something that you do every day.
Oh, that sounds intense already.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. You gotta be willing to make that change.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen. You need that intensity. You need that drive. Otherwise, it's just not gonna happen. It's gonna happen for that first week, just like it happens every year from January through March. Everybody's like, "Yeah, make the New Year's resolution." New Year's resolution, always.
And then they quit. Yeah.
Exactly. They quit because they don't have a plan. They don't talk to somebody. They don't have a support group. They're not in the right mindset. They always tell themselves, "I'm gonna do it this year," but what's the plan?
Yeah. Yeah. So what's important? What are some things we can start with? If the mental state is the more important thing, what are some suggestions maybe to get us kind of in that thinking?
Well, this time we always start with just making sure that we know what we're going to do. Again, that plan is very important. Our mental state is going to direct us in the right direction. Mm-hmm. It's always going to help us stay motivated, get the people that we know are going to help us. From there, we always judge whether or not we keep some people next to us, or we let go of some people. Because you always have that friend that always tells us, "Oh, let's go out tonight. Let's do this. Let's do that. Work out later. Out. Have that slice of pizza, whatever." You got to make sure that you either plan for that, and the next day you go even harder to get rid of that excess calories that you just ate,
right.
Or you plan and say, "No, I got to take care of me first. Then I'll go have fun."
Right. Right. So you really have to be committed and maybe have like a group of positive friends that hold you accountable.
Yes.
You'd say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Accountability is number one. Holding yourself accountable above all else.
Mm-hmm.
You are your biggest machine. You are going to be the person that's going to be going through this. I mean, again, you have a support system that's going to always help a lot. But at the end of the day, it's going to be you. You're the person that's going to wake up and say, "Hey, I'm happy today. Today's going to be a good day," or "Damn it,
Yeah.
Sorry, pardon my French.
Yeah, that's okay.
You're just gonna be like, you know what, today's a horrible day, and you tell yourself, no, it's not gonna be a horrible day.
It is. Yeah, it's hard on those horrible days. You don't want to get up and you're like, oh, I'll just lay in the bed, you know?
Exactly.
So in 12 weeks, we can really get that going then, right?
Yep.
Wow. Okay. Well, stay tuned for more. We'll be right back with Everyway Woman.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Everyway Woman.
Welcome to Everyway Woman. Different women, different opinions, always great conversation.
Here's Everyway Woman.
Welcome to Everyway Woman. It is getting harder and harder out there to figure out the do's and don'ts of the job hunt. But we've got Reese Alexander, HR exec with the sassy suit, with all of your answers. Welcome, Reese.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Well, tell us, what are the biggest mistakes people are making in their job hunt these days?
Well, one of the biggest mistakes is not having a plan. Finding a job in this economic environment is a job. So you have to have a plan, and there's a methodology you should be going about to actually find a job these days.
What are some of the things you need to think about when you're looking for a job? What is that method?
When you're looking for a job, you need to hone in to those positions that fit your skill set. Or, you can have a reach position that you may not have all of the skill sets, but you may be, 3/4 of the way there. So identifying those jobs, not just for the job that you want today, but maybe a job 6 months to 12 months from now.
Well, that is so important, especially, Sheryl Sandberg with
Yes.
Facebook just had that Lean In book, and that's exactly what she was talking about. With women, we're so much about, we need to know everything about that position before we'll even consider it.
No.
But she's saying, if you know 60% of it, you're good to go.
Exactly, because most people may have the technical skills for most jobs, but a lot of the jobs, in terms of how you fit in, will really determine how successful you are. Because, most people can learn the skill sets if you have, basic common sense and some sort of education. But really being a good fit for that job oftentimes is what will take you, beyond that glass ceiling that a lot of women are finding in corporate organizations today.
But, for companies, how much leeway are they giving you with that learning curve? I mean, how much time are they going to give you to get up to speed if you only know 60% on day one?
I think, a lot of times it depends on how you sell yourself in the interview. Because I think if you have determination, if you have passion and drive, and you display that in your interview, the hiring manager oftentimes can see that and say, you know what, this person, based upon how they describe some of their past positions or a position that they're currently in, they can see themselves, being able to fulfill 100% of those qualifications that they would need for a stretch position.
Well, let's talk about social media, because I know that so many people it's getting scary out there. Do you get on social media, or employers, are they weeding people out because of their social media profile?
Well, today, social media is here to stay, and you can use social media in a good way. Now, I do have to caution people, you want to be very cautious about how you present yourself on social media, because a lot of employers are checking to see, and I often say, you really want to know what's out there on you, Google yourself, and you should do that, because chances are your potential employer will do that. And you want to be, ahead of the curve, and you want to be branding yourself. Everything's about a brand these days, and you want to brand yourself positively. And use social media. Most companies, do post their positions on Twitter. And I know several people that have gotten jobs via Twitter.
So do you respond right on Twitter with, hey, here's my resume, or is that just an entryway of, finding what's open, and then you go through the normal channels?
Well, I think it can go both ways. Sometimes you'll see a recruiter on Twitter saying, I'm looking for X, Y, Z position, hit me up. And go ahead, hit them up.
Okay, they're open to it.
Yes.
Now, with most HR execs, though, I mean, can you hit them up too much?
Yes, there is a balance. You don't want to be a stalker or a bugaboo. You mean bugging me, bugging you? Be careful of that.
Okay.
Because you want to have balance.
Okay, well, thanks so much for those tips, Reese.
Thank you.
For more information, you can go to her website, reesealexander.net.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Everyway Woman.
Welcome to Everyway Woman. Different women, different opinions, always great conversation.
Here's Everyway Woman.
Thank you for staying with us. Today we have Alicia, a nutritionist from the Fitness Station, to tell us everything she knows about nutrition. Thank you for joining.
So happy to be here.
Well, please help us with nutrition. What is nutrition?
So let's start with the basics. The word nutrition basically is
is nourishing your body. So any kind of macro, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and getting it into your body for your health, basically like the gasoline you put into your car to get your car moving.
Right. So that's the basic building blocks and
of
energy.
nutrition.
Well, once we've got that understood, why should you see a nutritionist, or even should you?
Well, one of the big things that I like to share with my clients, or with even basic people who are interested in knowing about nutrition, is there is so much nutrition information out there.
Believe me, I don't even know where to start. Thank you.
And nutritionists can basically help demystify anything, or help you make wiser decisions or smarter decisions about foods.
More specific to your body, they can individualize it to you
Exactly.
and your needs.
So I would be able to customize my programs or menu plans for clients, and basically help them learn how to journal their food, and tailor their plans towards, what their goals are.
Right. Well, say somebody has a disease, would nutrition help a particular disease or a certain diet?
Definitely. A lot of autoimmune diseases can be helped managed by nutrition or changing your diet. One of the most common ones that we're seeing now is celiac disease, which is the way to treat it is a gluten-free diet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot, gluten. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about what a gluten diet is?
Yeah.
Or gluten-free?
So a gluten-free diet is basically a diet without gluten, which is a protein found in wheat, rye, and barley. Okay. So I actually recommend anybody trying a gluten-free diet for at least 30 days. And the reason why is because it's a great way to get processed foods out of your diet and help reduce.
It takes that long?
No, it doesn't take that long, but usually you feel a difference. And
I see.
Yeah, and you just feel a little bit more energy. And for people who do have celiac, though, they do suffer from severe stomach pain and itchy skin and headaches. So if they do have celiac, then eliminating gluten out of their diet would definitely help with those symptoms.
Well, that sounds great. So would you work with a doctor as well? I mean, you personally, do you work with a doctor to help a particular patient, or would you just come in after the diagnosis?
Right. So I try to work in conjunction with the doctors, but registered dietitians are the ones that would be working along with the doctor at a hospital.
I see.
If I see something that I think they should see a doctor for, then I'll definitely say, please see a doctor. You might have, or you might want to consider that you have lupus or arthritis. And,
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic information. Thank you so much. For more information about Alicia and nutrition, go to fitnessstationla.com.
Stay with us. We'll be right back with more Every Way Woman.
Welcome to Every Way Woman. Different women, different opinions, always great conversation.
Here's Every Way Woman.
Hi, welcome back to Every Way Woman, and it's Friday. As you know, Fridays are dedicated to our men, and we're here with the lovely Trisha Alley, who is the Director of Mixology for Southern Wine and Spirits and the President of the United States Bartenders Guild. And she's going to kind of do some concoctions for us. She came up with this really cool word called colleges, right?
Good.
Almost.
Good. Yeah,
Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, I call myself the concoctologist.
Okay.
It's kind of a play on the word mixologist. One day I was working in a restaurant, and the sommelier, Drew Langley, he just came up to me and he had a rough night, and he said, I need something. And I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, I need some kind of concoction. And I said, well, lay it on me, brother. I'm a concoctologist.
I love that.
Anyway, so that's how I came up with it.
Okay, awesome. So what's a good drink we can get started with for our men, or either both, us and the men? Or
Well, let's think about men first, I guess. A lot of guys like beer. Of course, ladies like beer, too.
Right.
I mean, we have the stereotype that men love beer, but let's go with it for now.
Exactly.
So I like to actually make beer cocktails.
Okay.
So I'm going to do one that I call Made of Steel, because it's sort of referencing the Boilermaker.
Okay.
Boilermaker is just a beer and a shot of whiskey.
Okay.
So this cocktail features both whiskey and beer, and it's really refreshing and complex at the same time.
And you use all fresh ingredients for all your
Absolutely.
concoctions.
That's right. Fresh ingredients is really what brings it into the category of cuisine.
Okay.
really cocktails are food, just
Okay.
like anything that goes on the plate. What goes on the glass is also food. I'm gonna make 2 so we can both have one.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we can both try it.
So what is this that you're pouring?
This is just some simple syrup, so just some, but I actually use organic sugar to make
Okay,
it.
okay.
And it's really important it's really better to make it yourself, or if you're gonna buy one, make sure that it's cane sugar based.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab this. Because really corn syrup, that's just not good for anybody.
Right,
and
right.
I highly recommend not using any product that is based with corn syrup.
Right.
But it's really so simple to make your own simple syrup and then just to squeeze your own juices.
And what is this?
This is orange juice.
Okay.
So this is just some fresh squeezed orange juice.
Okay.
It's always less expensive to actually press your own juice too. Anything that's manufactured is more expensive.
Yeah, that's good to know.
And it really doesn't take that long. It isn't complex. So I highly recommend making it fresh yourself every single time. So this is some delicious traditional American whiskey. It's a rye whiskey. Rye whiskey is, I like to tell people that we experience the grain in whiskey the same way we experience grain in bread. So like bourbon is made from corn mostly. Cornbread's kind of sweet and dense, and that's what that whiskey tastes like. Rye whiskey, rye bread is kind of spicy, dry. That's what the rye whiskey is like, and that's what you'll be experiencing.
So that spiciness is going to kind of mix well with the orange juice and everything like that, kind of give it a nice
balance.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're always going for balance. It's kind of like 2 boxers in a match that we want to come out a little bit even, and then maybe one last knockout punch.
Yeah.
And then this is just some walnut liqueur, and that's also going to add some depth, some complexity.
Okay.
It's going to play on the citrus juices really nicely.
Okay.
And then the last touch will be a nice
Shot of beer, huh?
Yeah.
And what about for the calories? Is this for the ladies, or is it good as far as, watching our weight and stuff, or is this one just more so for the enjoyment of the night?
It's not the most prohibitive in the caloric area. I would say, because if you are doing something that's like with the corn syrup and all that kind of stuff, then that's going to be much higher in calories.
Okay.
This has the fresh ingredients. The beer, beer actually doesn't have as much calorie as you would think.
Oh, okay.
Spirits really don't either. It's the sugar and it's the artificial stuff that packs a lot of calorie.
And that's why the freshness and the organic, making it your own, is better.
That's just better all the way around.
Okay.
And you probably have heard that if you drink an organic, biodynamic, or natural wine, something along those lines, you're not going to get the pesticides that they would put on the crops. If you drink the wines that do use all those pesticides, you're literally just ingesting that. And that is really the culprit for a hangover a lot more than, drinking too much is always the culprit.
Right.
But chemicals are really adding to it.
Right. And this drink is the made of still?
Made of still,
Okay,
yeah.
awesome. Okay.
Just
This
give
is
it
going to
a
be
light
fantastic.
shake. Just give it a light shake, and it's going to go into a short glass and a double old fashioned.
And are the measurements important too? Like how much do you put in, in terms of the actual liquor and everything like that?
Absolutely. Definitely, because again, we're looking for that balance.
Right.
And with, when chefs don't always measure everything. There are certain times that they do measure, but if they grab a pinch of salt, then it doesn't matter if they have a few extra grains of salt because the dish is so large. But we're only working with this small of a format.
Okay.
So we really have to keep the measurements tight in order for it to be balanced in a way that we're going to really enjoy it every single time.
Right.
So this is going to have a really beautiful kind of aeration.
Okay. And that's a strainer that you're using, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It's actually called a Hawthorne strainer.
Okay. And what's the difference?
This strainer, the reason it's called a Hawthorne strainer isn't completely known except for the fact the oldest photos we have of it actually said Hawthorne in it.
Oh, okay.
So it's thought that maybe the guy who invented it was named Hawthorne, or maybe it was the bar. I'm just going to add a little aromatic quality with a fresh slice of orange.
I know that sometimes they use the oil from the fruits to enhance it. Is that what you're going to do? Or?
That is going to be a part of it,
Okay.
but I'm going to just squeeze it on. So yes, we're actually getting some of the citrus oil and
Okay.
a little bit more of the juice.
Okay.
But this is really for the nose. This is going to enhance. This is going to enhance the aromatic experience.
Should I smell it or anything, or just taste?
Always smell.
Okay.
Take in the nose, because we actually experience a lot of what we taste. We actually experience through our nose.
Oh, okay.
We
Awesome.
smell a lot that we think we're tasting.
Okay.
So cheers.
Cheers to our man,
Yes,
Every Way
indeed.
Woman. Woo. That's fantastic.
Isn't it
Yeah, it's
refreshing?
really good. I really like it. Wow.
Really complex, but refreshing at the same time.
Well, thank you. Well, here you have it, guys, Man of Steel. And if you would like to check out more concoctions by Miss Trisha Alley, you can go to her website, www.concoctologist.com.
Or you could just find it by my name.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for tuning in to Every Way Woman. We'll be right back.
This has been an Every Way Woman production.